Hey guys, David Pingree out here at Paula Raceway with another of our latest two-stroke builds. It's a 2011 Yamaha YZ125, a 134 actually. Jay Clark built this machine, put a lot of time and effort and love into this thing, so we're going to have him on, tell us a little bit about it. It obviously has a very unique and cool look. Tell us about what's underneath the skin on this thing.
Well, first of all, to make it look cool, these 125s have been the same since '06 to now, basically. When Cycra has the updated plastic kit, Decal Works graphics, Moto Seat, all of our basic companies we use to make it look nice. We went through this thing and went through the frame, buffed it out, all new pivot works, linkage bearings. All Balls has carb rebuilds and cables, so we freshened it completely up. The bike was pretty beat. We sent the motor to Tom Morgan Racing, who we've used for years, did a ton of two-strokes back in the day, and he made this thing into a 134 stroker. Crankworks redoes the crank into the stroker with a Vertex stock piston bore, so it's still a stock bore. And then got applied, made us some clamps. We got some cool custom clamps to fit the newer front end. Scar pegs, super sprockets, TM designs on the billet pieces, and Faster USA makes really cool wheels, and they have a really good look to them and work really well. Obviously, they did do a good job. So really cool bike. Just like you, I think two strokes are good, especially for a lot of younger kids getting into it. My kid's already now bigger than me, so he's moved on to the 250F, and so I think this is going to be just our play bike.
Yeah, but you're a big believer in that because you started him on a 125, and it wasn't until just recently he got up to the 250, and it taught him. I rode with these guys quite a bit, and it did teach him a lot of principles and mechanics about how to ride and how to carry corner speed that he wouldn't have learned otherwise.
The deal kind of was he had to beat me on a 125 before he could get a 250F, and he got there to where he was riding the 125 or a 150. He was riding a two-stroke, and he could pass me. And so once he could do that, then I was like, okay, fine, you can get a 250F. And so he was 16 before he got on a 250F. So from 13 to 16, he rode at a 125, and I think it was good for him, and it gets him good training.
Yeah, and the Yamaha, even though it hasn't changed in so long, it's just a really solid platform. You can build more power into it if you want, or it just is very reliable and stock trim. You can bolt on, there's a million parts and pieces you can get for these things to make them look new, to make them look cool. So this is our latest. We'll get this thing on the track and have some fun. We've got Bruce Murata here, one of our Racer X test riders. He's going to be putting some laps on this thing. And so we'll get him back in here afterwards and get his thoughts. We're off the track here, and Bruce, you put some time on this thing. Give us your initial thoughts.
Well, it's a 125 two-stroke, so two-strokes are my thing. I love riding two-strokes, so you can never have really a bad day riding a two-stroke. So yeah, it was a fun bike. I am used to a 250 two-stroke though, so the 125, I had to definitely adapt to riding, 125 versus the 250 two-stroke.
They're a lot of work.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a lot of work for sure.
So the engine though, so this is the 134 stroker. I know you haven't ridden a lot of 125s recently. You're used to that 250, but how'd it feel?
For 125, it was fast. It definitely it was on the faster side of a 125. Especially, Yamaha, they've always built really good 125s, and you always can make a 125 go a YZ125 go pretty fast, and with what they did to this engine, it felt really good.
You said more of kind of top end. You would have maybe added a tooth to the rear just to get it to pick up a little quicker.
Yeah. So out here today at Paula for the way the track was set up, there were some tight corners and stuff. So with that, I would have recommended having a taller gearing for when I was in the tight stuff. But on the long straightaways, the gearing was great. So just for today, if I was out here racing this thing, I would have gone a little bit taller on my rear.
Okay. And how about the rest of the stuff? Suspension was all done by Factory Connection. That work okay?
Yeah, Factory Connection's always been great suspension. That's me personally. My number one choice of suspension is Factory Connection. So you know, they've always seemed to dial the two strokes in good. You know, because with the two strokes, they are a lighter bike, and so you know, you gotta get creative on the suspension side of things. Especially nowadays, everyone's so used to the heavier four strokes. So Factory Connection always does a really good job with getting the suspension dialed in for these things.
Yeah, there's definitely a different skill set to making those work right. You don't have the engine brake of the four stroke, so you got to really set them up specific for the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about, we got all of the little bits and pieces on here. We got some good tie pegs, all the Renthal stuff. Any of that stood out for you?
Yeah, so me personally, it's been a really long time since I rode with a crossbar handlebar, and these twin wall Renthals actually worked really well for me. I'm usually a fan of just the fat bar, and but these felt really good for me. So I'm actually considering maybe switching to a crossbar now.
Yeah, it's a lot of personal preference, but these are definitely bulletproof. You can go down pretty hard on these and not bend them. So a lot of good parts and pieces, and I think the look of it came out really good. The blue and red to me just pops, looks awesome. So big thanks to the folks that put all this together. Decal Works, the Cycra Plastic. Really cool looking build, and a special thanks to Applied. They built us triple clamps that allowed us to get the modern front end on the fender and stuff like that. So big thanks to those guys. A lot of companies that really jumped in and helped. Anything else you want to say on this thing?
I mean, overall it was like I've said before, two strokes are always just so much fun. So no matter if the track doesn't really suit the bike, at the end of the day, you're on a two stroke, and the smell and sound, you can't beat that on a two stroke. So it's at the end of the day, you're always smiling after riding one of these things.
That's right. That's what it's all about, is having a smile. Thanks a lot to all the companies involved. Thanks for watching. We always enjoy the two-stroke builds especially, so we will keep them coming. Thanks for watching.